Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner for over 35 years. In this video, we are going to be looking at Diddy's mom. Coming right back. Welcome, Tarot Maniacs. So we are going to continue to examine some of the players in the Diddy situation, the Diddy trial. And I figured we would start with Mama Duke's Janice. So Janice was a single mom. She raised Diddy by herself. She had to do a lot to keep him in school. He was in one of the more expensive schools in New York. I've said this before. We do know an individual, Greg and I, personally, that went to school with him. So the school was not inexpensive, and it was a great education that he did get. And I'm assuming that as a single mother in New York, she did have to work very hard. I'm going to believe that. So we're going to look at the dynamics of the relationship and how she feels about this whole situation. Obviously, he's very good to his mom. Obviously, he's very supportive. For her 80th birthday, she got $1 million check. She has been housed, fed, clothed, bewigged. She's in court with a great big wig. There's a few reporters that are taking her to task for being an animal print and kind of treating it like her own personal runway in there. And it is a much more serious occasion than that. But if that's her style, that's her style. There was a video that surfaced of them. They didn't look really beat up, but I guess they were recovering from an event or party or vacation. They were getting IVs together. I know that the IV therapy has been a big deal in this trial. And I do want to say, we have IV clinics around here in New Jersey. There were a ton when I was in LA, and I had gone to some when I was in LA. The IV clinic that we have not far from us, about 10 minutes away, actually has a hangover IV that you can go in, and for $250, they will fix your hangover for you. So there's IV boosting, there's vitamin C boosting. They have a whole menu. There's treatments for people that have cancer that are going through chemotherapy. I do think that it is a viable and real thing that normal people do. I wasn't shocked when I heard that they were doing it after these freak offs, because it's something that's readily available here. I don't know if that is around the world. I don't know if, in other countries you get to go into an IV clinic like that. When I was in LA too, we had oxygen clinics, which were really cool. You could go in, you could breathe some real oxygen for a little while. LA, kind of an important thing with all that smog hanging around. But let's take a look at what's going on with Diddy and his mother. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and being a member if you're a member. It is a holiday weekend this weekend, and I did have some plans, but the weather has turned cold. So I think I am going to open up my schedule tomorrow for private readings. I may even set up a past life regression for tomorrow night. So today is Saturday. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a great weekend so far. This is Memorial Day weekend here, where we honor the fallen, those that gave all. So it is not a joyous holiday, but it does kind of mark the beginning of the summer season here in the United States. Everybody can wear white after this. I don't know who would. It's freezing and cold here right now. So let's take a look at some cards. Hit the like button. I'm going to bring them up now. And we are going to stick with the Mindscape Tarot. This, I was using it the other day, and it came in my Hay House subscription box that I thought I had canceled. But here it is, and I'm really pleased because it's actually really beautiful, and it's reading very nicely. We'll get back to the kitten deck in a little bit. I'm going to do some bonus readings after this, hopefully. So what is the true nature of the bond between Diddy and his mother? Now, Diddy's father passed away when he was, I think, about 3 or 4 years old. And if I'm correct, he was born in 1969. I think his father passed away in 1972, 1973. Originally, he was told that it was a car accident. Found out later when he went to college that it actually was a pew pew, and that it was related to some illegal businesses that he was involved in. So, what is the nature of the bond between the two of them? The moon. It is kind of keeping family secret. The chariot, I do think the hanged one learning lessons from the past. Knight of swords in reverse, queen of branches, and the devil in reverse. I'm going to say that I think the true nature between them, I'm going to give Mama Dukes here, Mama Dukes Janice, I'm going to give her some props, because I think her main goal was to get her son opportunities where he wouldn't have to be in the father's business, if you know what I mean. Father was apparently dealing substances, those kinds of things. And here's lessons learned from that with the hanged man. It's in the upright. Up here, Queen of Branches, she did everything she could to get her son to that point. Chariot, she was moving him forward, getting him out of that lifestyle. Knight of Spires, which is Knight of Swords here, and Devil in reverse, did not want him connected with that kind of stuff. That being said, obviously Diddy has been a connoisseur of those kinds of products that his father was peddling. So what about that part of it? Two of Swords, Ace of Swords, and Six of Branches. I think when it became apparent that he was involved in substances and using substances, I think she was like, well, it's part of that life, part of that lifestyle. It's not as bad as being the deliverer of it, because that part is not as illegal as being a participant and taking those substances, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I think that was her justification of it. So I do think that she tried and worked very hard to give her son a better life. Is she proud of the life that he crafted prior to all this court stuff? Was she proud of the life? Six of Branches in reverse, the Ace of Spires in reverse, and the Two of Spires. No. No. You know why? The Five of Tides here, Five of Cups in reverse. She always thought that he could be bigger. She always thought that even though he really was at the pinnacle of the industry, she really thought that he could be bigger than that, larger than that he still was not at the top of the game. Very interesting. Interesting. So, how much influence does she have over Diddy's decisions? Personal. We're going to start with personal first. How much influence does she have over his decisions? Queen of Branches, the Chariot. I don't think she does anymore. I think once upon a time, she had a lot more sway over his direction. I think she laid the tracks and he stoked the locomotion. It seems that she was very, very involved in making sure that he had a good education. He was in the right circles. I believe he went to Howard University. I think he went to Howard, if I'm not incorrect. Which is a great education, not just a good one. I don't know if he finished, but is the relationship, actually, how much influence does she have over his professional decisions? Nine of Stone, Queen of Spires. He will consider her input professionally. But I think it's more in terms of not doing things. So I think she says, if you do that, money's gonna fly out the window. If you buy that gal that, $150,000 necklace, that's gonna be, consider it gone. Consider it gone. Like, it's not going to come back. You can't do those things. Like, you can't just throw it around. The money stays at home. Like Ike Turner said, the name stays home. The name stays here. That's my name. So I think, in terms of expenditures in the professional realm, I think she would voice some concerns about where that money is going, how it is moving around. Personally, I don't think she has a lot of influence over him. Is the relationship rooted in loyalty? Is it really loyalty here? The lovers, yes. Is it genuine maternal love? Four of Spires, yes. She is a mama bear. Mama Dukes is a mama bear. She's not going to let anybody hurt her baby boy. No one is going to hurt her baby boy. Has she ever enabled him or protected him from consequences behind the scenes? Has she ever protected him from consequences behind the scenes? And I do have a story from the teenage vaults that's forming right now. Temperance. Catacombs in reverse, 10 of tides, 8 of tides, 8 of cups, that is. 7 of cups, 7 of stones, 10 of branches, and 10 of stones there. So, yes, she protected him. The catacombs in this deck is the wisdom of your ancestors, the information of your ancestors. She did not want him to have any kind of connection. Honor thy past, but keep the cover story going. And we were a happy family, maybe not of a superior ilk or financial status. We're going to move forward, never look back. We are always going to be seen as hardworking and taking what's ours. Limitless options. Covering up, I think, has to do with the imbalance and sliding into this lifestyle. I think at one point when he was younger, he slid into that lifestyle. Her reaction was, you are going to lose all of your opportunities. You will never be able to recover from this kind of a misstep, and it will decimate you. If you avoid this recurrence of lifestyle, then we can have the 10 of stones, which is 10 of pentacles. Very happy family, excellent legacy. You are building a family legacy that we can all be proud of. So what does Diddy expect or demand from his mother emotionally or socially? What does he expect from his mom emotionally or socially? Give him free reign. 8 of spires in reverse. That's the 8 of swords. 6 of branches. Don't worry about your success. Leave it to me. Ace of spires. Stay out of it. Mama, I'm grown up now. I don't need to be mothered. Leave that in the past. The hermit. I've got people to advise me. I'm at the top of my game. I don't need you to tell me how to live. He expects her to be hands-off. This is a very hands-off kind of energy. Hands off my life. Just accept what I give you. Enjoy the fruits of my efforts. There's going to be so many, you're not going to know what to do with it. 7 of cups. And let me do what I do. Don't worry about how it got. This is very, mafia gangsterish feeling. Like, don't worry about where it came from. Don't worry about where it came from. So I referenced earlier that he gave his mother $1 million check for her 80th birthday. You also gave her a restaurant that she ran for some time. I can't remember the name of that. Are they gestures of gratitude, guilt, control, or something else? Gratitude, guilt, control, or wild card. Gratitude. 10 of branches. Yes, he is grateful for what she did for him and how she got him from A to B. So those moments where she disciplined him and steered him back into the right direction, he is now grateful for it. Guilt. 7 of stones. I don't think so. I think the 7 of stones is 7 of pentacles. I think he, and don't come for me because this is somewhat wholesome. I think he is really trying to repay her for the times that may have been thin, the things she may have missed out on as she was sacrificing to raise him as a single parent. Control. Ace of Spires. I don't think that it's control. I think it is giving her some control over her destiny. Is it play money? I think it is a little bit. Like $1 million is not a big deal to someone of Diddy's financial standing. So I do think that it was to kind of hand over to her something to do, something to play with. Some, like some people, it's like $100. Like here's $100. Go spend it on yourself. Go have fun with this. If the restaurant didn't work out, so what? No big deal. $1 million, whatever you want to do with it. You can invest it. You can buy $1 million worth of shoes, whatever you want. Is it something else? 7 of Tides, which is 7 of Cups. The gifts were to lavish on her. He's taking care of his mom. So whatever you say about the rest of the relationships he had with women, this relationship, he seems to treat her very, very well. I think there's a great deal of respect that he garnered for her after he became an adult and after he started to make some money. I think taking care of mama was very important. And I'm pretty certain that that's going to extend to his children. I think his daughters would, benefit from that as well. Does Janice feel indebted to Diddy in any way? Or does she see herself as the true power behind this particular mogul? Does she feel indebted? Or does she feel lack the power? 10 of Swords in reverse. No, I don't think that she feels that she is the power behind him, that she created Diddy. There are some people that take credit for creating the artist. Does she feel indebted? She feels fealty. Been saying that word a lot over the last couple of weeks. So she feels that she owes him fealty. So that seems about right. Seems about right. How aware is Janice of her son's darker dealings and these alleged crimes? Does she know the truth? She's purported publicly that she does not believe that he is guilty of this. But how aware is she of the reality? I shouldn't say the reality of what we're all pretty sure happened. The Hermit in reverse. Her and other people know. Page of Tides. They will cover this with family unity, and we've seen that in the courtroom already. His daughters were there. His adopted son, Kim Porter's son. All of his children. Their son's the youngest. The youngest one I think is like 3 or 4. Which is remarkable. I can't imagine having so many kids. 4 of Tides. She's keeping it under wraps. 2 of Spires. Every story has two different stories to it, and then there's two different stories after that with two branches there. And the Page of Stone, she is going to really double down on her truth. And you heard me right, on her truth, on what she believes, on the boy that she raised and the boy known as Sean Combs. She is going to double down on that. She's going to really not acknowledge any of the difficulties that are there. I don't know how she maneuvers around the Cassie Ventura video. How does she do that? Seven of Tides. There's more to that story than you think. She's still going to stand in truth, and she's going to say that her son broke up with that gal because it was a toxic, violent, terrible relationship. That's what she's going to say. She's going to say it took two to tango there. They were both in it. They were both doing it. So that, I think, is the truth that she's going to stick with. So, whew, I don't think one of my questions here is, has she ever confronted him about his behavior and what was the outcome? I'm not even going to ask that because I don't think that she really has. Don't ask, don't tell. Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Maureen Callahan said that. I don't know if that's a famous saying. I think it might be a famous thing. So how does Janice truly feel about the upcoming, the legal cases and the federal investigation? So the legal cases here are the individual cases against him. Those are civil cases that they will try and extract some money. So how does she feel about the civil cases? Let's talk about that first. We all know that Cassie already had a civil case against him and it was settled out of court. I think she got like $20 million. So there's a whole bunch of other people that have come to the fore looking to get their bag. So how does she feel about those civil cases? 8 of branches, she wants to see them move quickly. 4 of branches, they're going to push for being at home. Under the surface, she does believe that these are nonsense connections, that he really didn't have anything to do with them, that it wasn't anything that he should be held culpable for or responsible for. I do think that she believes that in her heart of hearts. So, I think if those cases get seen through to the end with the Page of Swords there, I think she is going to insist that those people were lying, that it was a collective situation where so many people lied that the truth never bubbled to the surface and it was all about money. We don't have a lot of pentacles here. We do have a lot of swords. So lies, lies, lies. Yeah. So what about this federal investigation? What is she thinking about this federal investigation? And we do know after Kid Cudi's testimony that Diddy's defense had asked for a mistrial, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that. The 10 of Cups in reverse, the King of Branches, 5 of Branches on the bottom, 4 of Stone, Hanged Man on the top in reverse, and the Knight of Spires. So the federal investigation, she really in her heart of hearts believes that they are going after a person of color because they cannot stand to see him succeed, that they want to ruin his life because of his success. 10 of Tides in reverse, ruining someone's life emotionally, mentally, no happy family here, because the causation is because he's a King of Branches and he was a wild success. So, this is, she's going to make something out of this. They can't stand, federal government can't stand to see this person of color be a huge success. I do think she's going to pin this on Trump, but this whole business started during the Biden administration. So I think that is going to be a fairly tricky circle to square for her. The hanged one in reverse, it will insist, my son never did this, my son never did this, and the truth will come out. That's another one. She's going to have, if he is convicted, his mother is going to have a lot to say on those court steps. So she is going to be in front of a microphone, having a lot to say, declaring that they will be appealing all the way to the Supreme Court if they have to. We're going to see her do that. She is going to become the emotional mouthpiece for her son. She will be coached by his representation, and I do think that the children will be by her side. We're going to get a really clear picture of like the hip hop royal family. It'll have all of the kids and supporters lined up behind her. There's going to be some attorneys behind her, and she will be the one at the podium saying how this is an injustice and they will not accept the verdict. So that's if we do get a guilty verdict in the federal trial. Is she afraid of Diddy? Is she afraid for herself? Does she think she's maybe going to get wrapped up in this? Or is she afraid of the family legacy that they have carefully built? So is she afraid of Diddy? Or for Diddy, I'm sorry. Is she afraid for herself? And is she afraid for that family legacy? So is she afraid for Diddy? She is afraid of the business contracts that he has, the business people that he worked with. Those make her nervous because in her mind, there are people that want to eliminate him so they can step into his role. This is a coup, a usurping of the king's throne. And that is what she's afraid of, is that his place in hip hop history and hip hop future is going to be taken. Here, is she afraid for herself? 10 of Stones, no, she's fine. Is she afraid of the family legacy? She's afraid of the judgment on the family legacy after. So, we do see this with individuals like Phil Spector. I'm going to bring Phil Spector into this. Phil Spector, amazing producer, weird guy. The crazy hair is just the start of it, but creating the wall of sound, and one of my favorite songs, all-time favorite song, is River Deep Mountain High, Tina Turner, produced by Phil Spector. It is an amazing song. He extracted her very essence in that recording. It was amazing. Caused a lot of problems with Ike, but was an amazing recording. All of his work is ruined now in a majority of the public's opinion after the shooting with Lana Clarkson. That was at his mansion, and it's still not very clear what happened on that evening. But at the end of the evening, Lana Clarkson was deceased. So, and Phil Spector did tell someone immediately after that he had done it. So, but all of his body of work is ruined. This is the same effect that Janice is worried about with her son. Michael Jackson, people still listen to his music, but there was a minute when people weren't listening to his music. And I have a different opinion about Michael Jackson, but we're not going to get in there. How does Janice feel about the people that are testifying against Diddy, specifically Cassie? How does she feel about Cassie right now? Cassie had a lot to say. 9 of Swords in reverse. 6 of Stones. This is, I feel sorry for you because you should be a nervous wreck right about now. Funk soul brother, check it out now. She absolutely is like, I pity you. she sees Cassie as someone who wanted to warm her feet by the fire, by the power structure. Hierophant for me is always the power structures in our world. And the Six of Spires is escape. And she was escaping to Ace of Cups in reverse, to a not happy future. She thinks that's the motivating factor behind it, that Cassie once had access to that power structure, the Diddy empire, and that she turned her back on it and now has regrets. That's what she thinks. And that's why this is coming up. That's why this is coming up. That's what Janice feels. So, how did she feel about Kid Cudi? How did she feel about the Kid Cudi testimony? Catacombs, temperance. Calling all cars, get my ancestors in here, go after this guy. He is not telling the truth. He's not telling the whole story. He is telling the one side of it. She, in her opinion, if someone asked her, she would say that there was more to the Kid Cudi situation, that like Diddy didn't help Kid Cudi the way he wanted him to. And so that's why this whole kerfuffle happened. She would say that those individuals that burned up the Porsche and that broke into the apartment or condo, those individuals had their own beef with him, and that it was separate, distinct from the Diddy situation and the dating of Cassie. So, what does the future hold for Janice as this legal situation with her son continues to intensify? She's going to have a lot to say, guys, a lot to say. Her power structure is going to be gone. And I do think that if he does go to jail, she's going to probably go live in, either like Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, something like that. She's gonna leave the United States. I don't think she's gonna stay here. I think she'll go to more of a resort living kind of place. She has her own money. She's developed her own money as a result of the restaurant, that $1 million. And I think he's put a lot of things in her name. I think she actually does have a location that is hers, that's in a foreign place. So good for her. Go on down there. Go live the island life and just chill out. She has her own retinue. So she has her own, court that travels with her. So I think she'll be fine. I think the contingency plan is already set up for her. I think Diddy and his attorneys had already kind of taken care of that. So one last thing. What karmic contract ties does Janice and her son have in this lifetime? Let's look at some of these karmic ties, guys. What's the gist of this relationship? Five of Swords, Eight of Cups in reverse, Five of Cups on the bottom, the High Priestess in that suitcase position, the Magician, and the King of Branches. So they are supposed to be battling together. It's not against each other. I don't want you to think that. The battle will never back down. They're almost surrounded by legal battles and fighting amongst themselves. Not amongst themselves, I'm sorry, amongst the different players that are going after him. So the people that are testifying, the people that are suing him civilly. So it really is the two of them at war. There's like this very warrior spirit between them. And they have to keep, clanking swords together. How do they see themselves? The Four of Spires, that's the Four of Swords again. How do others see them as a unit? Not backing down, death in reverse. the hopes and fears, the catacombs, that they can break that cycle of the past. They can fight their way through it. And the outcome of the relationship is the King of Branches. King of Branches, I want you to remember, is King of Wands. It's a fiery energy. So it can be somewhat unstable in certain conditions. That 10 of Stones, legacy is broken. We're going to have the benefit of the music, the clothing, the Ciroc vodka, all of those things. We're going to have the benefit of that history, but the color of that history becomes dingy, becomes tainted with all of the allegations, the federal, the civil court, the videos, everything that we're being made privy to now has dulled the shine of this star. So that is really what I'm seeing here. The karmic lesson is that they should have created a family legacy in a fair and honest way, and then possibly it was sustainable. But what they have chosen, because they're possibly sustainable because we have this magician up top, guys. But what they have done is they have bastardized the gift that was granted to them. And there was too much of that devil energy. Like, let's have some fun with this. Let's be luxurious. Let's be luxe. And they went a little too far with that instead of maintaining more of a, uh, strictly pure professional conduct. So, unfortunate things there. So, this video went a lot longer than I expected it to. I had a lot of questions. I skipped over a few, so I may do some more in shorts throughout the week, or throughout the weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of Janice Combs. I am getting a very strong sense that she was a purpose-driven parent. She really was trying to create a life for her son that was good and that he could be a good businessman and not fall into the trap that her husband, Diddy's father, was in, that ultimately took him off the earth plane. I do think that when there was a little bit of that game still in him, and that when he made some success of himself and she became aware of that game that was in him, you guys know what I'm talking about, I think that she was willing to overlook it because the money and the prestige and the popularity would protect them. So let me know what you think. And let me know who else you want to hear from in this trial, because there are a lot of players. I know somebody asked me to take a look at his kids and how his kids feel about it. Well, that's a lot of people. So I may have to break down that video into 2 parts, or check out some of the kids. The littlest one, of course, we're not gonna talk about her at all. I think it's a her, but I still, Jonathan Odie, I think, is going to be one of the most interesting reads on this. I'm not trying to pump it in advance, but I think Jonathan Odie is going to be a very interesting read on this. So stick around. I'm going to try and get that one done tomorrow. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and don't forget to check out the link in my description for the Memorial Day reading sale. You can book a reading well into the future at a discounted rate. I'm going to close up that link on Tuesday. So you have from now until Tuesday to book, and it's a tremendous amount of money off my hourly rate. So I hope to see some of you guys there. Hope to see you in the future. Bye for now.